I have returned to make all other VTubers quake in fear. And this time, I have my sights set on you, Kiara. Actually, how do you take out a magical fire chicken? One sec here. Let's see. Nope, that's chupacabras. Nope, that's werewolves. Nope, that's vampires. Abominables. The giant snowman, ironically enough, don't like ice cream. Ah, here we are. Okay. Are you serious? Okay, I mean, if that's what it takes to defeat her, I'm gonna open up my rival fast food restaurant, and it's gonna be called, I did not think this through. You know what? I'll come up with a name by the end of the video. Okay, so I don't even want to think about what a magical fire chicken can do to me, so let's continue on with this video before her inevitable incurring wrath comes to get me. Today I wanted to refer to the recent news with LG and the closure of the part of their company that makes phones. Now, I know I'm a fair bit late with this. All of you in the tech world probably have long known about this. But the reason I'm talking about it now is because, well, I didn't have this idea until recently. So that's why I'm making this video. See, the recent closure of LG's phone division actually had me look into the history of their phones. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized, man, they made some pretty good phones! Like, you should see some of this stuff. It literally looks like you pulled it out of a Star Trek movie. And yes, I am well aware of which one of these stars that is. I am not confusing it, okay? I mean Star Trek. Anyways, some of it looks really cool and functions superbly. I mean, look at some of the recent stuff that they made. This one has an optional extra screen. This one has a screen under a screen. And that's just the recent stuff. They've been making stuff like this for years. Now, granted, not all of it has been great. Some of it has been not ideal, but that's to be expected from any company. You win some, you lose some. Not every single thing any company is going to make is going to be amazing, as much as a lot of us wish it was. And that had me thinking, why is it that LG is closing down their phone section? Why is it that it was struggling so much? Why is it that it doesn't get the recognition that I think it really deserves? And I thought about it, and really, the answer just kind of came out to, everybody just kind of focuses on one or two different types of cell phones. Odds are, you either have an Apple or a Samsung. Maybe you have a Huawei, but that's about it. Around the world, those are the main three cell phones that you're going to have. And I look at these cell phones and I realize that my restaurant should be called Introspection Filet. Well, I'll keep workshopping that. But what I also realize is that not in every regard, but in a lot of regards, other cell phones have done things way better than these primary two or three cell phones. Well, actually, okay, yeah, it's just Apple and Samsung, really. So, better than these two cell phones. I mean, think about it. Forever now, Pixel has had a better camera than either of the phones. Other phones have had better battery life. Other phones have had stronger processors. And other phones have had just better screens. Other phones have just done revolutionary things that these phones have never even touched. There have been cell phones with infrared cameras on them. There have been cell phones that can act as camera screens. There have even been cell phones that in just every regard outpower these two cell phones, in some cases combined. So, that got me thinking, and there's probably something I need to get out of the way. If you own one of these two cell phones, I'm not trying to attack you. Just know that if you have an Apple, you're wrong. But in all seriousness, I'm not trying to attack anybody who has one of the two mainstream phones. That's not the point I'm trying to make here. But what I do want to say is, my restaurant will be called Exploding Helium Fireball Bucks, and we will serve coffee and pastries and never spell your name right. I guess exploding helium fireball bucks is a bit of a mouthful. I'll keep thinking. But the other thing I did want to say is that for a lot of us, there may very well be other phones better suited to each of us as individuals. Now, is it very possible that a Samsung could be best suited to an individual? Sure, of course. But I sincerely doubt that these two specific phones suit every individual needs. For example, take camera. Maybe not recently, because I know those two have been catching up, but for a good portion of time, the Google phones have long since outdone these two primary phones in terms of cameras. Other phones, such as the Razer phones, have outdone them in sheer power. And not everybody needs that sheer computer power, and not everybody needs that amazing camera. In a lot of cases, the cameras on other phones are just fine, and we don't need nearly that much power. But there are several individuals who would like to have the most powerful phone for convenience, and there are other individuals who just love taking pictures, in which case the Google phone would have been, again, not recently, but in prior years, would have been the better option. But a lot of people who would have been better off with those phones never even looked at them, because really there were only these two primary phones anybody cared about. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is my restaurant will be called Mech Introspection. Nope, that is the worst one yet. But the other thing I am trying to say is I encourage you to look at other phones, because in a lot of cases, again, there might end up being a better phone for you. And also, we need to keep all the companies on their toes, otherwise they start slacking on other things. I mean, I think we can all see that these two companies have been slowly taking away a lot of features. I mean, sure, you can make an argument that we might not need aux ports anymore. I disagree, and I could make a whole video about that, but I'm not getting into that now. But you're really not going to tell me that there's any good reason to get rid of micro SD cards that gave you the ability to expand the memory on your phone by however much you wanted, at whatever rate you wanted, and you didn't have to buy an extra regular service or a more expensive phone to do it. It was a very cheap and convenient way to expand the memory on your phone. But now, with the current models of Apple and Samsung, I don't think Apple ever allowed this feature, at least not that I can remember. Samsung, I know, did for a very long time, and was one of the best features about those phones. But now it's been taken out, and as a result, your only options are to delete things, which can be challenging depending on what kind of person you are, or buy a more expensive version of the phone, or get the service that you have to pay on a monthly basis. Not that I have anything against the services that you have to pay on a monthly basis. It can be very convenient in a lot of people's lives. My problem is when you force people to make that one of their only options. So just keep that in mind, because other companies have that option. Other companies have the micro SD card option. And nobody's buying those phones, not even because they're necessarily worse in a lot of regards, just because they don't know those other phones even exist. Like I said, in a lot of respects, these other phones do a much better job at a lot of things via comparison. And when they don't really get the support they need, then we end up having a lot of phones and a lot of phone companies making these amazing, great products that a lot of us would benefit from, that cease to exist because they can't get any business. So, again, I encourage you, if you're in the market for a new phone, if it's time to switch from the flip phone, if for some reason you still have that, then look at these other phones. Give them a chance, because a lot of them just do it. Heck, a lot of them come really, really, really close to the specs on the current phone with almost half the price point. That's the other thing. These phones have gotten crazy expensive, but you can get phones almost as good for a much cheaper price point. And a lot of them, believe it or not, have very little compromise. I mean, granted, some compromise, sure, but very little. I mean, in fact, I'd argue most people who are not tech savvy probably would not notice the differences in the budget phones versus the real expensive, popular Samsung or Apple phones. And in a lot of cases, it could probably outdo Apple. But the point is, Look at the other phones. Give them a chance. You might be surprised to find that you have a new favorite type of phone. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you... I got it. It will be called Milky Way. And we will serve nothing but sandwiches and crisps. Yes. Perfect. Well, now that we figured that out, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If there are any cell phones that you think deserve just a little bit more recognition, make sure you leave it down in the comment section below so that the other 1 or 2 people watching this video can see them. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you didn't, I can take it. Hit that dislike button, although please hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. And make sure to hit subscribe and that bell button. I post every other week. So until next time, hear nothing and listen to all. Bye, guys.